$48,412. That is the exact amount of money separating two brothers who have the same job and the same salary. 10 years have passed, yet they never speak about this number. It sits between them like a silent ghost at every family dinner. It all started when you are 25 years old. You are standing in a dusty used car lot, looking at a plain gray Corolla. It has a dented bumper and 71,000 miles on it. Absolutely nothing about this vehicle will impress your friends. Still, you pay cash for it and drive home with the windows rolled down, feeling the cool air. That night, you sit at your desk and do some quick math on a blank piece of paper. You fold the paper in half and slide it deep into a desk drawer. At this moment, you have no idea what you just did. You do not know that you just made the most expensive decision of your life, but in reverse, saving your future self a fortune. That piece of paper in the drawer held a simple secret. $400 a month. That was the exact amount of money you did not spend on a shiny new car loan. When you look at that number on paper, it seems incredibly boring. There are no flashing lights, no big rewards, and absolutely nobody stands up to congratulate you for being smart. This kind of discipline is completely invisible to the rest of the world. Instead, the results show up in the parking lot at work. Every morning, the spaces fill up with brand new Audis and sleek BMWs. Your coworkers walk into the office holding expensive coffee, looking proud of their high monthly payments. Then there is Mark. Mark is a coworker who drives a luxury SUV that smells like brand new leather. He thinks your dented gray Corolla is a hilarious joke. He actually laughs out loud every single time he sees you park next to him. To Mark, you are just the cheap kid who is missing out on the good life. He does not see the $400 staying safely in your bank account every 4 weeks. He does not see that while his money disappears into a depreciating piece of metal, yours is quietly waiting for better instructions. You just smile, grab your bag, and walk inside, letting him enjoy his laugh. By the second year, the gap between you and your brother begins to show. He drives home a brand new, shiny Acura on a lease. He tells everyone it costs $490 a month, but he calls it basically free because of the low down payment. He is so proud of the sleek leather seats and the modern dashboard that glows in the dark. You drive your old gray Corolla over to his apartment to see it. When you arrive, you stand by the curb and watch him walk around the vehicle. He wipes a tiny speck of dust off the hood and glances at the shiny rims. He moves around the car the exact way people walk around expensive things they cannot truly afford, with a mix of great pride and constant worry. For a split second, his smile drops and something strange flickers across his face. It looks like a brief shadow of stress or fear about the next payment. You notice it instantly, but you choose to file it away in your mind without nomming it out loud. Your brother is trapped in a loop of trying to look rich, while your $400 a month keeps piling up in secret. He has a beautiful machine in his driveway, but he also has a new bill that will arrive every 30 days without fail. As you drive home in your dented car, you realize that the silence between your financial paths is already starting to grow. One quiet night, you sit down and run the numbers again. This time, you are not calculating the cost of a car or a monthly insurance payment. You are looking at the math of your entire life. You stare at your salary projection and realize there is a clear ceiling to how much you can earn at your current job. You see the corporate ladder for what it really is: a long conveyor belt moving forward with a very fixed end. For the first time, the truth becomes perfectly clear. The gray Corolla was never actually the big decision. The choice was much larger than a dented bumper or a set of old keys. The real decision you made in that dusty used car lot was choosing between two completely different paths for your future. You had to choose whether to spend the next 10 years looking successful to people like Mark, or actually becoming successful in real life. Your brother and your coworkers chose the shiny illusion, trapping themselves on the conveyor belt just to show off. By refusing to buy into that invisible trap, you bought something much more valuable: your own freedom. It happens in the parking lot after a friend's wedding. The night is warm, and the air smells like Sarah's perfume and Jordan's expensive cologne. Everyone is laughing, shouting goodbyes and climbing into beautiful, modern cars that look perfect under the streetlights. You stand there next to your dented gray Corolla, and for a moment, the weight of looking cheap feels heavy. Later that night, you sit in the dark at 1 o'clock in the morning with your phone glowing. A Lexus dealership app is open on your screen. You stare at a sleek black sedan, your thumb hovering right over the button to request a quote. The monthly payment is high, but your bank account can easily handle it now. This is the exact night the choice almost breaks. The pressure to just fit in and look successful feels like a physical weight in your chest. If you pull the trigger, the world will finally see you as a winner. To the people at the wedding, you are just a man who cannot afford an upgrade. But what is actually happening is the exact opposite. You have the power to buy the luxury, but you are choosing the discipline of saying no. You pull your thumb away from the screen and lock your phone, keeping your freedom alive. This is the long middle, where the initial excitement wears off and the walls feel like they are closing in. One Sunday afternoon, your mother gently offers to help you out with a down payment for something newer, thinking you are struggling. A few days later at the office, Rachel from accounting notices your car in the lot and offers to walk you through a low-interest credit union loan. The worst part happens during a Tuesday lunch. Two of your coworkers sit across from you, eating their salads and openly feel sorry for you out loud. They talk about your old Corolla as if it is a tragic problem you cannot solve. You quickly realize that this quiet pity is much harder to stomach than Mark's loud mockery. Mockery is easy to dismiss because it comes from a place of arrogance. But pity feels kind, which means it gets right inside your head and makes you doubt yourself. This is the exact section of the journey where most people quietly give up. The mental exhaustion peaks, and you find yourself looking at shiny cars online just to make the uncomfortable feelings go away. It is so easy to convince yourself that you deserve a reward. To call a massive car payment a well-earned treat just to stop the whispers, staying the course means sitting with the discomfort, while everyone else assumes you are losing. It is a freezing Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock, and the thermometer reads 12 degrees. You turn the key, but the engine gives a weak click and dies. The battery is completely dead. A half hour later, a tow truck pulls up, and a driver named Marcus steps out into the bitter cold. He hooks up the jumper cables, rubs his cold hands together, and looks down at your faded gray Corolla. He does not laugh, and he does not look at you with pity. Instead, he looks at the car with a strange kind of respect. Before he climbs back into his truck, he turns to you and says just one short sentence about his father. My dad drove one of these until the day he retired, and he died owning the whole block. He gives you a small nod, taps the hood of your car, and drives away into the gray morning. You sit alone in the driver's seat, listening to the engine hum as the heater slowly starts to push warm air into the cabin. The truck disappears down the street, but something in the air has shifted. You feel a sudden change deep inside your chest, though you do not quite know what it means yet. The head gasket finally goes on a rainy Thursday afternoon. The mechanic shakes his head, wipes his greasy hands on a towel, and tells you it is simply not worth fixing anymore. You walk out of the garage, sit down on a wooden bench outside the shop, and pull out your phone. For the first time in months, you log in and open your main savings account. The number staring back at you is $310,000. There is no panic, and there is no stress. That same afternoon, you walk over to a nearby dealership, find a clean, used 2021 Corolla, and pay for the entire thing in cash. There is no monthly payment, no loan, and no hidden fees. You just sign the papers and drive away. That evening, Jordan comes over to your apartment. He sits on your couch, stares at his shoes, and confesses that he owes $94,000 in high-interest debt. He looks up at you, completely exhausted, and asks how you managed to build such a secure life. The answer is not a complicated financial trick. It is just one short sentence Frank gave you 10 years ago. A piece of advice that changed everything. You close your eyes and find yourself back at that dusty used car lot from 10 years ago. You see the plain gray Corolla sitting under the hot sun with its dented bumper. You remember the loud salesman who called you boss just to make a quick sale. Looking back, you realize that absolutely nobody standing in that lot that day knew what was actually happening. They were not watching a massive wealth decision that would change a life forever. They were just watching a kid buy a cheap car. The world always focuses on the outside appearance, missing the real battle happening within. The true question you faced over that long decade was never about what kind of machine you should drive to work. It was never about the leather seats, the shiny rims, or matching the luxury of your coworkers. The real question was about who you were becoming every single. You chose not to answer the pressure to show off by staying silent and embracing the invisible discipline. You did not just save a massive pile of cash. You built a mind that could not be bought by the opinions of others. And that was the greatest victory of all. When it comes to building true wealth, do you believe long-term financial discipline is more valuable than immediate status? Or is the pressure to look successful too high to ignore?